It's currently day 21. Let's go see if there's any activity. And I just got a new incubator. It is the Farm Innovators Model 2450. I've seen them at Tractor Supply. You can get them straight off of Amazon. I think I purchased mine through mail order. It's about $120. And so I thought I would show you what came out of the box. I'll show you what I've done to set it up. And we'll talk about some of the different features of this particular incubator. This is the Farm Innovators Model 2450, 40 watts of power and draws 0.33 amps. So it automatically turns the eggs 6 times per day. It's got an integrated heater and fan kit. Digital display, which is nice because it shows the temperature, the humidity, and days left to hatch. And then it's got these easy fill water channels, so you'll be able to add water without removing the lid. Here's one of those channels that leads out to the plug that you can remove to add water. And then there's another one on the other side. Heater that's installed, and it's factory preset to 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but I'll show you how I set that up. You can adjust it based on the different types of eggs that you're going to be hatching, whether they're quail or goose or duck or what have you. It has a high and low temperature notification, and the light will flash when it goes outside of the desired range. There's an integrated fan which pulls in and circulates the air to basically stabilize the temperature and improve your hatch rate. Large picture window, that was pretty desirable for me, so I would be able to actually just look at the eggs without having to open the lid to visualize what's actually taking place on the inside. This has a deep bottom tray so that if you were going to do something larger than chicken eggs, it'll be able to accommodate geese and or duck eggs. An automatic egg turner, and this particular unit holds 41 eggs total. So the only thing that comes in the box is the incubator and 2 pieces of paper, one being the instruction manual, both in English and in Spanish, and then the other is a yellow sheet of paper which covers a lot of the frequently asked questions that people may have when utilizing this particular incubator or any other incubator for that matter. One thing about the build of this that I do not like is that it's just purely styrofoam on the outside, but I knew that when I bought it. They actually do make one that's coated in plastic. However, that one was sold out. It's a little bit fragile, and had I had opportunity, I would have purchased the upgraded version, but it was hard to find. This is just styrofoam, and it's obviously going to be very fragile. It's not going to take a lot of abuse, but if we take a look at the top, you can see you've got a really nice view of all of the eggs in there, all 41 eggs. And here is the heater and the fan. And then here's the digital readout. It shows you the temperature that it's currently at on the inside, and then the days left to hatch, and here is your relative humidity. It's showing 62%. I have this set at 100.5, and so as you just saw, the light went off when it reaches that temperature, and then when it falls below that, it will kick on. What you're hearing right now, if you can hear that at all, it's the fan. It's got that little bit of a hum. You can see some of the moisture on the inside starting to accumulate. There's 2 cords that power this unit. One cord goes to the motor down in the corner there, and that motor drives and oscillates this deck back and forth. So it tilts it back and it tilts it forward 6 times a day, which gives the eggs enough movement. And the other cord powers this digital display, which is working in tandem with this heater and the fan. It's got 2 filling holes, and on the other side there's another hole that's just like it. It's just merely a plug that you can pull out and then use like a turkey baster or a syringe to fill.
Yeah, the initial setup of this is really simple, and the only thing that you're really adjusting at this point is the temperature and the days until hatch. And it's got a mode button and up down so that you can adjust temperature either up or down, and same with the number of days. Very simple. It's got all the instructions right here. What I like to actually do first is set it up overnight for about 12 hours and just make sure that it's reading the same as this humidity and temperature gauge that I like to use. I've got a couple of these. They're pretty accurate. This had dropped to 29% when I checked it today. Yesterday it was within the desired range, but I've just added a bit more of the distilled water that I've warmed up to about room temperature, and it's starting to raise the humidity. As I'm sitting here filming this, you can see it has already gone up at least 1 percentage point more, and it's just incrementally working its way up. But essentially all that I do is 1/4 to 1/2 of a cup, and I'm using a syringe, but you can use a turkey baster or anything that will fit in one of these filling holes. Already up to 42%. There's currently 3 days left until the chicks are going to begin hatching, and so they recommend that you turn off the egg turner at that time. And then also you're going to want to raise the humidity in the incubator, so you need to add additional water to the number 2 fill hole. Well, it is currently day 21. Let's go see if there's any activity. A crack in that shell down there. We've got a few chicks that have hatched, and the remaining eggs are showing signs that more chicks will be emerging soon. But we're going to check back tomorrow and see what took place overnight. There's a lot of humidity on the inside. It's showing 75%. From what I can see in there, there's still a good number of eggs that have not yet hatched, but we're going to take the ones that are on the inside out and get them into the incubator outside, since it's been about 24 hours since we had the first one hatch. A little bit stuck. That's kind of a poor design, where they get down in there and can't get out. Wipe off some of this moisture on the inside of this. We are at the start of day 23, and overnight we had an additional 5 more chicks hatch. And the day prior, day 22, we had 3 hatch, and then we had 7 hatch on the start of day 21. I'm going to give it one more full day of leaving those eggs in the incubator. We'll assess at that point what our final hatch rate is and give an overall impression on the incubator. There's a number of different things that I'd probably like to change on this unit, but first let me start by talking about the things that I actually like about it. Very easy to set up, coming right out of the box, easy to understand instructions, very intuitive display, and it's really quite hands-off, with the exception of you got to add water about once every 7 days or so to maintain the humidity levels. And it's also really easy to break down and to clean up after you hatch all your chicks. A couple of the things that I'd like to see potentially changed on this is, one, the construction. This styrofoam covering is going to be very fragile, and it's going to require special care to see this thing last for any length of time. The one thing that I will note is we had a very poor hatch rate down at this end of the incubator. This entire row, nothing hatched out of here. However, we did have some quitters in this particular row, so that could be a result of
maybe improper or inadequate air distribution within inside the incubator. Another thing that I find to be somewhat problematic is just this channel down here. I had several birds get upside down and stuck in there, and some of them were able to right themselves and get themselves out. Others were pretty well trapped down in there, and so I just think that that could probably be improved, or something could be placed in there just to eliminate that as a potential hazard for your chicks when they're hatching. We started with a total of 41 eggs in the incubator, and we decided not to candle, and we just left all of the eggs in there for the entirety of the incubation process. We had 17 of the 41 eggs were unfertilized, leaving us with 24 fertilized eggs. Of those 24 fertilized eggs, we hatched 15 into viable chicks, and we had 9 quitters at various stages of development, ranging from embryonic quitters to full-term quitters, leaving us with a hatch rate of 62.5%. Please consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.